Welcome to another episode of Offbeat Adventures. We're standing here beside the grade of the former Canadian Northern Railway and later Canadian National Railway's Kinghorn Subdivision. We are just west of the community of Longlac, Ontario, which is just over there, here in the municipality of Greenstone. We are just adjacent to the Longuelac First Nation. So what you see in front of us here, as we're beside the highway, which is very loud, is one of the last remaining pieces of the Kinghorn Subdivision. There is 1.7 miles that runs right from the junction here. This area used to be called the Longlac Junction. Runs 1.7 miles to the west. And directly behind the Kinghorn, you can see the still active Canadian National mainline across Canada. This part is known as the Caramat Subdivision, which runs from Hornpain, which is about 100 miles to the east, all the way up to Armstrong, which is considerably to the west. So what we're going to do with this episode is we are going to be taking a look at a few things here, but in order to get the true sense of what happened here, we actually need to go back that way. We need to sort of go a little bit less than a mile to the southwest, to the southeast, east in terms of the railway, and we need to take a look at the original location of where Longlac Station is. So we're going to go over there and have a look. All right, so we've moved our way just a little bit further to the east, just under a mile. We're kind of southeast of the location we were initially at. So here you can see the still active mainline Canadian National track, so the Caramat Subdivision, which used to run from Hornpain to Nakina, but now runs from Hornpain all the way to Armstrong. So it is a very long line. So just to the south of here, just this way over here, used to be where the station was originally, here at Longlac. So just that way down there. And so when the line was built, so when Canadian Northern built this line, again, the original station used to be just to the south of over here, so around at Milepost 99.9 from Hornpain. Now, a little bit of a story about the original name here for Longlac. So you can see in the background the lake that's here, and that lake is named Long Lake. And then eventually Long Lake flows into the Kenogami River. And I'll put that name up on the screen so you can see it. Flows into the Kenogami River, and the Kenogami River flows north. So what was going to happen was the original proposed name for this location was Kenogami, after the river. And Kenogami, I'm not sure the meaning of it, but Kenogami is a indigenous name, an indigenous word. So eventually Canadian Northern wanted to call the stop here, the one that was just to the south of us over here, they wanted to call it Long Lake. Now unfortunately Long Lake was a name that was already used as a railway location here in Canada, so they couldn't use that. And so what they did was they settled on the French name, and so you know, back in the early days, the early French explorers that came through this area, and there was just over that way, as I'm pointing over there, is the Long Lake First Nation, and so there was an indigenous community here. And so the Hudson's Bay Company set up eventually the Hudson's Bay Company set up a fur trading post. But when the early French explorers came through here, this lake, Long Lake, which is very long, which is 50 feet long, and there's a spot in there that's 500 feet deep. It is a very long, very deep lake, and it was actually an impediment to construction, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So the French obviously called this lake Long Lake. They used the French translation of that, which was Longlac, and I'll put that up on the screen. So again, when the station was set up here, so the station was 99.9 miles from Hornepayne, and I'll put that up on the screen. And so this was the location of the station right from when the railway opened in 1915 all the way up until 1924, when it was shifted, when the Nakina Cutoff was constructed. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Nakina Cutoff when we go back to where we were alongside the Kinghorn line. But this lake, talking a little bit more about this lake was actually an impediment to construction. And so the rail line actually comes up kind of from the south. It actually comes up kind of in a northwesterly direction because it had to zig around this lake. And even going back to the construction of the Canadian Pacific Railway, the Canadian Pacific Railway actually wanted to build the line a little bit back from Lake Superior, but the problem was is this massive lake that's in the way, and you either have to go to the south side of it or you have to go to the north side of it. Again, it's fairly wide at points, but the other problem is that it's very, very deep, so bridging even the narrow parts of it would be next to impossible. And so the Canadian Pacific line, because it's very rocky on the south side, the Canadian Pacific line was actually built along the shoreline. There was other considerations as well, but they couldn't pull the line any further to the north. And then when this line was surveyed, basically what they had to do is, again, they could not go south of this lake, and they had to pull the line all the way to the north of this lake. And that's why it sort of comes all the way kind of north, goes around this lake, and then had to swing all the way back around to the south, along the south shore of Lake Nipigon, back to Lake Superior, Nipigon, eventually Port Arthur. And so that was a massive consideration. Anyway, so this just kind of gives you a lay of this particular area right here. Again, you can see the still active tracks. You can see some of the signage and some of the signaling equipment for this mainline piece of railway. And so what we're going to do is we are going to shift ourselves back up to where we were originally. Just over there we can actually kind of see some of the equipment that was over there, and we'll return to that location.